Welcome back to my shop. I've decided to do a little bit of fabrication work. Some of the sparks and stuff from my forge seem to go everywhere, and well, I don't want the fire department to shut me down, so I've been working on building a hood for it, and its first incarnation didn't work so great, but basically here's what I have. Okay, that's out of an old air compressor, this yellow thing here, and what I did was basically cut the bottom half of it off and tried just to make a hood out of it with a leg for a support and everything. Well, turns out it doesn't change anything as far as sparks getting everywhere, so I've been having to put the piece that I cut off of it back on there, and it's still been letting up sparks. So I'm going to cut off about 8 or 9 inches out of this, and then I'm going to weld the rest of it back on the hood, and that way I'll have about an 8 or 9 inch door that I can put on and take off when I actually fire it up. I'm gonna see what's going on, and here we go. So I hope you enjoy the video. Now what I do is I take a bit of tape on the places that I marked it, that gives me a pretty accurate straight line to cut with. So I'm going to cut on this part right here, and then it's going to be time for some grinding and some welding, so we'll get to it. There's that. That's going to be the size of the door. That's going to be about the size of the opening that I'm going to have. Now I'm going to put a handle on this door so that I can set it in there and close it off and try and keep all of the sparks out. I'm also going to weld on some flat stock so it won't fall in there on me. Like I said, I may or may not put hinges on it. I haven't decided yet. Now it's time to prep for welding. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tack weld my piece on there before I take this leg off. That way it won't just be falling apart and flopping around on me. And then I'll be able to go ahead and grind down the rest of what I need, clean up for, paint and stuff. So clean up the paint for welding. Switch back over to a cutting wheel. Now I can cut that leg off. And there we go. I'm getting pretty close to running out of welding gas. May have to switch over to flux core here in a little while, but I'm going to use what I got while I can. Alright, well there we go, now she's all closed back up. Still a little wobbly, but hey, I can take care of that with some strategic grinds. Now, you can see there's a hole right there. And on the back side, there's 2 holes right there. Now I'm going to look for some plugs, see if I can't plug them. If I can't plug them, then I'm going to weld up the hole. So I'm going to begin looking for plugs. Okay, now I found my plugs. These are things that I had just laying around in the house. If you take something apart, or have something that might be trash or you think is trash, man, just take it apart, and any of the little fittings or little things that you find and you don't really have a use for now, you might have a use for it later. So man, I can't stress enough, keep your scraps, man, because I haven't had to spend a dime building this whole thing, nothing. So it's just all out of years of accumulated scraps. So that's that's the best advice I can give you. Alright, here we go. Okay, well, it's definitely a big ugly blob. I'm going to grind it down so it doesn't look so crappy. Well, it's good enough where I know sparks aren't going to get out, so that's really all I care about. Now, the next thing that I have to do is the chimney part up here. I need to do a spark arrestor of sorts. What I've been using lately is what was going to be the back of my LP gas forge. Just took a piece of flat, set it up on top of there, and there we go, spark arrestor. So I may just go ahead and continue doing that. I don't really want to weld it on there because that's how I cap off my fire and smother it out at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't want to weld it on there yet. So there's that. So if I put a hinge on it, I'm going to have to cut about 1.5 to 2 inches off the bottom so that when I open it, it won't hit the lip of the table on my forge. Okay, so I decided to just go ahead and take 1.25 inches off the bottom of my door first, and then start working on a hinge after that. So here's me and my bandsaw. Now, the other neat part about doing it this way is that I'm going to be able, this already has a curve to it. I'm going to be able to weld that to this right here on the top to close it off just like I want it to, so no sparks can get through there too. So I mean, it served a double purpose this time. Doesn't always happen that way. I think this is going to work pretty nice. It's going to give me about 1/4 inch leeway for opening and closing the door and the lip of my forge. So I'll get about 1/4 inch. Alright, now it's time to start making a hinge.